Welcome to another episode of Help with Natalie Cuomo. I'm excited. I'm here today with Nina Kharoufeh. How are you?
Hey, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning.
What's going on?
I'm so excited to have you on my podcast and just talk to you.
Thank you for having me. I've been watching you for a while now, so I'm like, let me slide in her DMs.
I've done the full research.
God, I'm sorry you had to go through that.
No. It's such a funny world we live in where you can feel like you know someone, but you've never talked to them before.
Especially when you have similar lifestyles. You're like, I get it. You just look at someone, you're like, yep, I know. I know.
Yeah.
There's nothing you even need to know about. You're just like, I know.
Yeah, you're like, I feel it. So you're a comedian. You're from New Jersey.
I am.
You have done such a wide array of things.
Yeah, I've kind of been a little bit of a mess after the age of 19. I kind of just scattered myself.
I wouldn't say that you've been. I see you've written a book.
Yeah.
You've been on the Food Network.
Yeah.
You're a boxer and a stand-up comedian. That's a wide array of accomplishments. I wouldn't call that a mess.
Thank you. So I went to college in Jersey, and then I became a producer at Sirius XM for 6-7 years.
Whoa.
And then I started doing comedy while I was there, and then it just got too crazy, and my bosses were annoyed of me taking off every other Friday because of comedy gigs. So I was like, you know what? I think I need to put in my 2 weeks. And I just been gigging it ever since.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Were the shows that you produced comedy related on Sirius XM?
They were politics, but with a comedic spin, kind of like Daily Show vibes, but for radio. So I've always been somehow connected to comedy, even before I started performing.
How did you know that you wanted to do that?
People would kind of convince me to perform, and I was like, no, I don't know how. I don't even know how to write a joke. And I did an open mic once, and it went terrible, but it was so much fun. So then I took comedy classes, and then I started performing.
My first open mic was horrible.
Yeah.
I also had that experience of being like, this is so bad, but I definitely want to do it again.
Yes.
I embarrassed myself, and I was like, I need to prove that I'm good.
It was embarrassing, but it's I got such a big applause because I was like, this is my first time doing comedy, and I think it was a pity thing, but it was still awesome. I was like, thank you guys so much. I think I had a minute and a half of material, and I was just like, I forgot my jokes, guys, and it was so bad it was funny.
I get that.
Yeah.
I feel like I was just talking so fast, and I walked off stage and I was like, whoa. That's definitely one of my nervous tics, is when I talk really fast.
Where was your first open mic?
Well, I was like, I'm going to go to New York Comedy Club, and it was canceled. So I walked to Greenwich. It was canceled. So I walked to Karma Lounge. I know.
I love how you didn't quit.
Yeah.
You kept going to the next one, because I would have been like, oh, it was canceled. I'm going home.
I know. I was like, I'm either really meant to do this or really not meant to do this.
How long have you been doing it?
5 years.
Oh, wow.
What about you?
I just made 4.
That's awesome.
So it went by quick.
Yeah.
Especially with COVID being 2 of the years of the 4 years.
I feel like was COVID 2 years or?
Yeah. It was a year and a half.
Yeah. Of ridiculousness.
Comedy was really weird during COVID.
It was. Did you feel like you grew during that time?
Oh, no. I regressed. Really? I didn't perform at all.
Yeah.
I think I did one show in Chicago with Godfrey. That's literally cool. One. And I refused to do Zoom shows. Yeah. Because that's so awkward. I'm already awkward as it is. I don't need to be double awkward on Zoom. So I refused all Zoom shows. So I was just stagnant for months and months.
I felt like Zoom shows helped me write, but they were very, very awkward.
And then people have recordings of it, and then it's just
on YouTube, and you're like, ugh.
Please delete. I've asked people to delete stuff, and they're like, no. And I'm just like, I hate you.
What do you think? So I don't even know where to begin. So first of all, the first thing that I saw on your profile that really excited me is all of your boxing videos.
Yeah.
Because
I won my first fight.
You what?
I won my first fight.
Oh my God, congratulations.
Thank you.
What so I feel like working out has been a struggle for me because I don't enjoy working out at all. But I did take a few kickboxing classes once, and I enjoyed it because it wasn't about working out. It was about the actual action of what you were doing.
Exactly.
And can you talk to me about how you got into boxing?
Yeah. So funny enough, I hate working out too. Before COVID happened, I broke my foot. So I had gained a lot of weight. And then COVID came, and then I gained even more weight. And I didn't really care that much, honestly. I was like, I'm thick. with 2 C's. But everyone in my life, like my grandma and everybody was like, you gained so much weight. Oh my God. So it got to my head and I got depressed. So then I was like, I need to lose this weight. Oh my God. And like looking back at my photos, I'm like, I wasn't even that big. People really are fucked up.
Yep.
Because I was like, God damn it. But it got to me. So all the gyms were closed. So I found this one little boxing gym in my town and it was open and I signed up. And then I just started boxing and the weight melted off without me even like really trying. So like you said, it's a lot of fun. So it wasn't even like, I wouldn't go there and like, it wasn't a drag to go to boxing class. It was fun. So then I have like a trainer and we just start like sparring and messing around. And then he was like, you should compete. And I was just like, okay. And then a year later, I had my first fight.
That's amazing. What was your first fight like?
I was so nervous.
Yeah.
I was so nervous. And my stomach was all messed up. I probably had to use the bathroom like 10 times. I was like, I'm going to throw up. It was just... And then when I got in the ring, I was like, oh, this is fine. And then I won via TKO in the 3rd round. And it was just like awesome.
That's amazing. What is TKO?
Technical knockout.
Oh my God.
So it was like... It was kind of like stand-up when you get really nervous for a big show and then after the show is done, you're like, that wasn't that bad at all.
Totally.
Like you regret feeling so nervous. It was like a waste of energy. It was kind of like that.
What do you feel like is more of a challenge, boxing or stand-up?
Mental or physical?
I guess mentally.
Mentally, I would say stand-up.
Yeah.
Is more challenging than boxing because when you get in the ring, you're kind of just like, it's all physical. You're not thinking who's looking at me, who's laughing, who's not. You're just like, don't get knocked out. Don't get knocked out. Like it's a different kind of savage mode that gets turned on in your head than when you're on stage and you're like, let me not be super aggressive so I don't lose the male audience. And it's just so much more trying to win people over, whereas in boxing you're just savage mode, which I'm better at than trying to get people to like me.
I feel like I want to name the episode Savage Mode.
Yeah, it should be called Savage Mode.
What's your astrological sign?
I'm a Capricorn.
Okay, work ethic. I feel like a lot of people are Capricorns in comedy.
Are they?
It's about that grind. Like you have to just like, it's about like, I feel like a large part of success in comedy is being
showing
able
up.
to work hard and like just showing up. It's not an easy business at all, especially as a woman.
No, especially as like an ethnic woman, because you get like the internal haters that are like, you're just a diversity pick. Or then it's like there's so much like nuances to being a woman, and then being an ethnic woman, and then being a comedian, and then it's just so many things you have to worry about.
How do you deal with that?
I kind of just trained myself to not care, especially because I get a lot of hate from regular people, and then I get a lot of hate from my own community. Like some guy was threatening to kill me because I was he said I'm an embarrassment to my religion, and I actually called the cops and he got arrested because he said he was gonna shoot up my next comedy show, and it was a whole thing. And then he tells the judge that he was just trying to get my attention because he had a crush on me. Yeah, it's a lot.
And then what wound up happening?
He's being prosecuted and stuff because they were like, you can't threaten to mass murder people in hopes of getting a woman's attention.
Do you think that, in my opinion, I mean, do you feel like that's what he was doing?
No. I think he was just a misogynist, hates to see women winning, hates to see his own kind winning, self-hatred, and he needed an excuse to get out of it, but the judge wasn't falling for it, so.
Wow. That's crazy. I mean,
do you get a lot of crazy guys in your...
I do, absolutely.
Do you do OnlyFans?
No. I don't. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like any girl who has a big following, whether she does OnlyFans or not, or whether she does whether she's covered up or not, just it's an invitation to creeps because they feel like you're putting yourself out there, so it's allowed. And it's just because we have a lot of followers doesn't mean we're asking to be harassed via social media.
Well, I think that in any way, just being a woman in comedy and being a woman with a voice, people want to criticize you or put you down in some way. And it's It is a hard thing to deal with, but it is good for the algorithm.
Yeah, because I wanted to do OnlyFans for comedy.
Yeah?
But I was just like, I feel like I'm going to get so harassed. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know if it's even worth it.
You were going to make an OnlyFans and put your stand-up on it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Because you could do anything on OnlyFans.
You can,
It's not all about, like, the sex industry. So I was going to do it just for, like, comedy bits and, like, just silliness. And then I'm like, I already get such crazies. Yeah. Like, stalking me. I was like, if I did OnlyFans, I feel like it would do, like, 10 times worse. Because I know a few comics who are on OnlyFans who, like, are making, like, a lot of money off of it and stuff.
That's true. I honestly, it's, to me, it's something that, like, I don't know. I have nothing against people that are doing it. And, like, but I have nothing against people that do that. It's just like I don't think that I would be able to handle the response of people to that. And I also I want to do things the way that feels right to me.
Yeah.
Like I want to make a living as a comedian. I want to be known for my stand-up and not for anything else. Like when people come to my shows, I don't want it to be for something else. I want it to be because they like my comedy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You're engaged to a comedian too, right?
Yeah.
How's that? Because I remember the first day that I had a show back at Sirius XM, I met Sherry Shepherd. And I was like, oh my God, I love you. Like, I'm doing my first comedy show tonight. And she was like, oh, congrats. She was like, I'm going to give you one piece of advice. And I was like, okay. She was like, don't ever date a comedian. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't really know. And then I heard that was like a unwritten rule. Mm-hmm. But I think that's silly. But I was just wondering how you felt like dating a comic and now being engaged to one. And
I think it's great. I think honestly, it depends on the comedian. I think Dan and I have a really good relationship where we can be really open with each other. I think the problem with comedians dating each other is comedians can be really selfish and always put themselves first. So in a relationship, you need to look out for the other person, and it's about not being selfish. And I think that's where it gets weird. Also, because we're all going to be around for a long time. 10 years from now, we're going to see each other at comedy clubs. No one's going anywhere. So if things don't work out, it's weird. So you really need to be sure that this is the right person and you're not making any mistakes. It isn't a lot of comedians get together, but it's because we have so much in common. I mean, who else has this schedule that we have, and who else understands what it's like to be dealing with this industry?
I think a lot of people from the outside see comedy and comedians as just it's all fun and games and it's all easy and it's all just get on stage and do your jokes, and it's it's a struggle, it's a grind, and it's a lifestyle that not everyone's cut out for. And it's like you said, the work ethic. It takes such a long time to craft a joke, and I don't think people really realize how much work gets put into it.
What do you talk about in your act?
I talk about a lot about just my own story, my own struggles, wearing a hijab in America, working at Fox News for a few years, just being single in the city, my parents, my family that are fucking insane. Just a lot of it comes from actual real stories.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What was that like working at Fox News?
It was great. I got paid well. Everyone there was really nice.
Did you care about their politics?
No, because it's all bullshit. All the stations are BS. They're all owned by the same person. They all have their agenda. Not everyone believes all the things they say. Depending on what station you work at is the vibe of your commentary. It's all bullshit across the board. So I'm I got a degree in media. Might as well make some money.
What do you feel you took away from working on, how did working at Sirius XM, Fox, how did that inform, you as a comic, as a person? What did you learn from, watching all these entertainers and, personalities?
And honestly, I think it made me a better comic because although it wasn't comedy, it was just stage presence, being on, just talking well, jokes. It gave me so much material. I learned a lot about production. It made me a better producer. And being a good producer makes you a better talent.
Yeah. doing things yourself.
Absolutely. Self-producing.
I love your jokes where you say things that I feel like people are afraid to say.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get canceled before I make it. So many times it's gonna.
I don't think so. I don't think that like cancel culture is. I think it's dimming down for sure.
I hope so.
I think so too. I mean, what like does your family like your stand up? Have they come to see it?
Yeah, my parents come to my shows. My sisters come to my shows. They think I'm ridiculous, but they don't. Everyone knows that I'm just joking.
Yeah.
I will say that I posted a bit about my grandma, and my aunt saw it and got very upset. And I was just like, first of all, it's just a joke. Second of all, it's just a joke. And if you don't like it, just scroll away. And it became like it was the first time I like got in trouble for like one of my jokes. And I was just like, you guys are being ridiculous.
How did you handle it? How did it blow over?
I was like, leave me alone.
I have a distinct so a couple years ago, it was like 2020. No, 2000. What year is it? 2020. That's a real year, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so tired. I had this joke, and it was like I put like a 5-minute set on YouTube. My someone in my family found it, and my stepbrother found it, and he was like morbidly offended for some reason.
Did you talk about him?
I talked about someone in my family, and he was like, I didn't think it was offensive, but like he found it to be very offensive. And so I was like, okay, like I'll take the joke down. And it wound up being like a whole thing. And I just remember this feeling of like, I don't know how to handle this. I was like, I don't know how to handle actually having upset a family member about my joke.
Aw, were you upset that he was upset?
I was, but it was
you're so nice. I didn't give a fuck.
He was upset in a way where I was like, oh, we're not coming back from this, even though I didn't feel like it was that bad. And I remember there's like this group on Facebook. I'm not active in it at all, but it's called like Lady Comics of New York or something. And I posted in it and I said, hey guys, my family is offended by a joke that I wrote. Has anyone ever dealt with this? Do you have any advice? And I'll never forget this comic she wrote on it. And she said, they're offended by one of your jokes. Have they seen your Instagram? Like implying that I was like a slut or something.
Oh my God.
And
do you know this comic?
Yeah. And I was like, oh my God. I like couldn't.
What's wrong with your Instagram?
I don't know. Like
you don't post nudes and like.
I don't know. And I was just like.
I'm so confused. There's nothing wrong with your.
I was just like, I couldn't believe like the shade that was thrown at me in that moment where I feel like I had been like reaching out to like a female community being like, help. But it is really hard when you feel like your comedy, like it's one thing when your comedy offends people that you don't really give a fuck about. But like when it offends people that are like your family, you're like, shit, like I genuinely am not trying to offend my family with my comedy. But also then it like, I started like realizing, okay, like this is my voice and this is important to me. And
yeah, it's your story. You're allowed to talk about your story.
Yeah.
And if people get upset, you need to just take it with a grain of salt and be like, hey, I'm sorry you feel this way, but I'm allowed to talk about my experiences. And if you don't want to end up in my stand-up, don't give me a reason to.
Yeah. And it's also like, my dad gave me this advice that was like, you should always be able to like ask for forgiveness and have a conversation unless it's something that's really crazy.
Yeah.
But it's not. So
I'm still like mind fucked about the woman who said that. Because was she an older comic?
Women are just catty.
I was going to say that. Women are so it's unnecessary.
I know. I wonder how
you're young and pretty and you're doing well. And a lot of women are not going to like that. That's just the facts.
I often think about like I feel like the girl that wrote that comment doesn't remember writing that, but I will never forget it.
Of course you're never going to forget it. That's such a shitty thing to say.
Do you ever think about like what are the things that I said that offended someone that they're still thinking about? Like Natalie Cuomo said this to me 3 years ago and I will never forget it. You can't do anything about it.
Probably nothing though. You probably have never said anything remotely as mean as that woman.
Maybe.
I highly doubt it. Did you respond to her?
No. I was just like, what?
Yeah, I've gotten my share of like comments that I'm like, oh wow, you're kind of shitty.
Yeah.
I remember one time last year at a green room, these comics were talking and they were just like shooting the shit, and someone was like, oh, he's a doctor and he's single. And I was like, oh, give him my number. Like, just joking. Mind you, they were talking about a complete stranger. And one of the female comics looked at me and she was like, oh, no, honey, you could never bag him. And I was like, I will steal your man just to piss you off. Don't come for me. And I kind of just smiled and nodded and like made my way out of the conversation. I was like, wow, that was, even if you did think that, why would you say it?
Yeah.
That's why I'm always just like, people are kind of weird.
They are weird. They are. What would you say is the best advice you ever received?
The best advice I've ever received was like comedy related?
It's up to you.
I think the best advice I ever received was this too shall pass.
Oh.
My best friend when I was probably like in the 6th or 7th grade, her mom would always say that to her. She ended up getting it tattooed on her body. And she would always say like, even if you're having a good time, remember this too shall pass as well. If you're having a bad, like no matter what you're going through, like appreciate the good moments because the good moments pass. Don't harp too much on the bad moments. They pass. Any kind of struggle, any kind of anxiety. And I have really bad anxiety and panic and stuff like that. So I just try to remember that phrase and it honestly calms me down.
That is nice.
Yeah. It's so cliche. It's like something you read at like a Hallmark, like on like a thing you hang up in your closet. But it really does help you calm down if you actually really think about it. And you're like, wow, this feeling is not going to last forever. This moment is not going to last forever. To just get through it.
I feel like it's kind of like saying to be present, but it's an easier way to get present in the moment. You know what I mean? If you're just remembering that it's gonna be okay, the moment's gonna pass. Even in a happy moment, I think that's an important point to make, to like enjoy the happy moments.
I even feel like it helps me get through like in the ring, because even when I had my first fight, the rounds were 3 minutes. Like the round's gonna pass. Get through it. Yeah. Like it's a few minutes. They go by in a blink of an eye. Like it's gonna pass. Just get through whatever you're going through in the moment.
That's good advice. I like that. I think that things are cliche for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. What have you always had anxiety?
I think I always had anxiety and I didn't know what it was until I became like 18, 19, and I was like, oh, other people have this weird feeling too. Oh, it's a thing that it has a label. Oh, okay, great. I think my anxiety got really bad after COVID.
Yeah.
Like being home kind of messed with me a little bit. I've always been like a social butterfly, going out a lot. Working from home really messed with my head. Lack of comedy. My anxiety got definitely a lot worse.
Do you feel like you were able to recover from that, or you're still like...
I think I'm just being able to recover from it like the past couple months, honestly.
Yeah.
I feel like 2022 was a rough year for me mentally.
I think a lot of people had a hard time like adjusting after. I mean, it's like a very traumatic thing that happened to every single person in America, and they just kind of did the classic thing of pretending that it's just done.
It was just crazy because 2022 was the best year for me career-wise, but then the hardest year for me emotionally and mentally, and I feel like it didn't match. But that's the thing with anxiety. It kind of, no matter what you're going through, you could be having a great time, and sometimes it just hits you.
Why do you feel like that kind of corresponded on purpose? Like, I think some people are like, it's the best year career-wise. Like, everything's going well. And you're like, why can't I enjoy it? Why can't I enjoy my accomplishments?
Yeah.
Because, like, you are crushing it. Like, you're killing it.
Yeah.
So it's a weird thing of not being able to enjoy, like, all of the successes that you had. Like, if you looked at yourself a few years ago, where you are now. Yeah.
I don't, that's the thing with anxiety though. Like, I guess the fear of it all going away.
Right.
Maybe when you're like working so hard for something and you're like, wow, at any moment this could all just disappear.
Right.
Just, I have irrational fears. That's the best way to put it, Same. I think. You do too?
Yeah.
What are your irrational fears?
Oh man, I don't even know where to begin. I could really start all day. I think, give me a topic and I'll give you the list of irrational fears. I think that, I don't know. I mean, first of all, it's not all going to go away. You've already done it.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And you're always just going to build on it, which is exciting. Developing that like trust in yourself it's such a long process, and it has so many ups and downs, which is so confusing for me because I'll be like, I was so much more trusting in myself a few months ago. Why? But I think that like part of being stronger is, like feeling weak and then building back up again over and over again.
I think I have imposter syndrome. That also plays a big role in it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Me too.
Do you really? What's wrong with us? I hate that we're both super good at what we do, but do you think it's a woman thing in comedy?
I think a lot of people, it's hard when there are a lot of people telling you like all of the time, like you don't deserve to be where you are. And it's like I think that's a difficult thing. It's like, yeah, don't read the comments. Don't deal with all of the voices of people that want to push you down. And like my therapist has said this once, like someone can tell you 99 nice things and one insult, and like you'll hear just the insult.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot harder for women in comedy than it is for men, not just for like in terms of in the industry, but in terms of like the audience in the world.
I can't. If I had $1 for every comment on TikTok I got that said women aren't funny or women shouldn't do stand-up, I'd have rolled up in here in a Bugatti, Natalie. Like, it's just so unnecessary. And it's like, just shut the fuck up. Leave us alone. If you don't like it, just keep scrolling.
What are some of the positive comments that you've gotten?
I get so many positive comments, but the negative comments are... They're a lot. They're overwhelming.
Yeah. It's funny because it's literally like if you were to see the person leaving the negative comment, you'd be like, I don't give a fuck about you.
Yeah.
And then it's like I look at someone like you and I'm like, you are fucking hilarious. You're inspiring so many people. Like, you're fucking killing it. And it sucks to know that like people only want to take you down because you're confident.
Yeah.
And it's a cliche thing, but cliches are true.
Yeah. I always wonder what kind of thought process these trolls are going through when they're leaving these comments. Because when you think about it, I look at troll comments as I don't humanize these people. Yeah. They're like, I feel like they're bots, they're losers, like, but they're actual people. They're like kids that you see in school. They're people that you see at the grocery store that are just like, women shouldn't do comedy.
Yeah.
And you're like, why are you so angry?
I know. I'm like,
who hurt you?
This entire third grade class is ruining my confidence.
For real. And then it's like, no shade, no hate, but. And you're like, if you have to write no hate and then but, like, you're being a hater.
Exactly.
Just stop it.
Exactly. So I'm kind of like a Food Channel nerd. I hate to admit this about myself. I've seen every season of MasterChef and I'm kind of obsessed with Chopped. I saw a picture of you with Bobby Flay and I'm like, don't bring it up. But like, tell me what did you do on the Food Network?
So I was on a show called Worst Cooks of America.
Okay.
And
I've seen that show, but continue.
Yes,
tell us about it.
And it was such a long process to get on the show and like film it and stuff. Like, it took us like 3 days to film one episode.
I've applied to be on Chopped 3 times.
Can you cook?
No.
You should try Worst Cooks in America.
They have amateur cook episodes.
Oh, do they?
Yeah,
okay.
But whatever. Okay, tell me about Worst Cooks in America.
It was a lot of fun. It was so much fun. And I can't cook, so I was perfectly casted for this because I don't cook. I can't make. I mean, I meal prep now, but it took me years to figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
So like I get there and I was so shocked when I got eliminated first because I'm like, I got eliminated from the first episode, and I was just like, there's no way that I could have done that poorly. And then when I rewatched the episode, I was like, yeah.
It's a stressful situation.
Yeah, because like they teach you how to make the dish and then you have like 30 minutes to make it. And so flustered, and I was like running around, and Bobby Flay's screaming, and they're like, and someone like started a fire, and there's like 100 cameras everywhere. It was the most intense, insane thing. And I was just like, I froze. And my chicken was like raw in the middle. So here's what had happened. The producers called us like a few days before, and they were like, there was 2 challenges for each episode. The first challenge is you can make whatever you want, and the second challenge is they tell you what to make. Mm-hmm. So the first challenge, they were like, what do you want to cook? And I was like, I'll make fried chicken and pasta, like something like that, whatever. So they're going through the challenges with us, and everyone has their own station, and there's like a fire department there, and like they're like, don't cut yourselves, and there's a doctor, and like in case anything goes down. And then they had all the ingredients for everyone's individual meals on our station. And I see like a deep fryer, and I was like, what idiot is using a deep fryer? And they were like, you. I was like, wait, what do you mean? They're like, you said you wanted to make fried chicken. And I was like, I don't know how to use that thing. And they're like, you wanted to make fried chicken. We provided you with the tools to make fried chicken, which they're right. I was wrong, but I was like, I don't want to make fried chicken anymore. And they're like, it's too late. We're filming. Like, so I turned on the deep fryer, but I put it on too high. So when I put the piece of chicken in it, the outside burned and the inside was completely raw, like completely raw. So Bobby Flay cut the chicken open. He was like, are you trying to kill me? And I was like, no. It like burned. And like there was a firefighter there just for me, because they were like, deep fryers are very like dangerous. That's apparently the number 1 cause of fires in America on Thanksgiving, when people deep fry their turkeys.
Really?
So it was horrible. It was horrible. And they were just like, you suck. So I was the worst cook in America.
You were the first one to get eliminated.
Yeah.
Okay, when I watched the show, I mean, that's not fair. Did you feel like you could have been like, I'm not using the deep fryer, or was that your only option to cook?
It's what I asked for. So It was like, I was being kind of a diva at that point. Right. They were like, you said you wanted to do this. And I was like, I didn't think it was a deep fryer, like a pan or something.
Yeah. When I watched the show, it said you have to be nominated by someone that you're the worst cook. Is that true?
Yes. My entire family. So, like, it's supposed to be like you're supposed to get better and keep progressing and moving forward. And Bobby Flay and are supposed to teach you how to cook. And I didn't get the opportunity because I tried to kill Bobby Flay unintentionally.
With the fried chicken.
Yeah, so I got the boot.
That is amazing. And I'm so jealous.
So I was on 1 episode.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm still cool with the other contestants. We're friends on Instagram and stuff.
Oh my God, that's so fun.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you use it as a credit?
No. It's too embarrassing. Yeah. Because everyone's like, well, what did you do on the Food Network? And I was like, got eliminated first on the Worst Cooks of America.
You're like, I was the worst cook.
Yeah. So it's like, I think if I did Chopped or something like worthy of respect, I would use it as a credit.
I guess. It is also not comedy related. So it's like when people have a credit that's not comedy related, you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Tell me about your book, I'm a Princess Too.
Oh, yes. I wrote a book, and it's a children's book because I have a bunch of nieces and nephews, and I love them. And it's an anti-bullying book. But the difference is my character gets bullied, but she doesn't care, which is kind of like me, because I know that a lot of children's books teach you that, like, the bully ends up apologizing and they come back, and that doesn't happen in real life. The bully doesn't apologize. So I wanted to teach my nieces that, like, even if people don't like you, fuck them. Like, who cares? So instead of, like, dying for, like, that validation and recognition from the bully, my book is kind of like, well, she didn't really give a shit, so she ends up winning at the end anyways. So that's like the theme of my book.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
It's just more realistic.
Is it like, so did your nieces did they read it?
Yeah, they loved it. They have a special credit in the beginning of the book and stuff. And so, like, she auditions to, like, play the princess role, and all the other girls are, like, really mean to her, but it doesn't break her. She, like, tries really hard and ends up getting the role anyways. And she's just like, fuck you guys. She doesn't say fuck you guys, but I wanted her to, but my publisher was like, no. Yeah, he was like, you need to take out all the cursing, Nina. This is not okay. So I had to, like, rewrite it and stuff.
What do you think gave you like the strength and the confidence you have? Like, I know you struggle with anxiety and imposter syndrome, but like you are also very successful and like you have the strength to deal with so many situations that a lot of people couldn't deal with. Like, what helps you get through that and what gave you that?
I kind of just power through it, honestly. Like, I'm not going to say that I'm like this like strong person and like I cry all the time. I break down. Like, I was very highly affected by that man who was threatening to kill me. I cared. That's why I went to the police. I wasn't scared. I knew he was just a troll, but it was like, it bothered me. I'm like, why do people hate me so much? I haven't done anything to deserve this kind of hate. But I just try to remind myself that it's not a reflection on me and it's people just projecting. So I try to just remember that everyone's going through their own thing, that not to take everything personally, because I'm like, am I really that important? No, this man is just obviously angry and he saw something he didn't like and he took out his anger out on me. It's not about me, it's about him, which took me a long time to realize. Not everyone thinks you're as important as you think you are. So I'm like, because I was just like, why does he hate me? What did I do? And I'm like, he doesn't hate me. It's not about me. He's just a piece of shit. That's why he did that. Like,
yeah.
So I kind of just try to take everything with a grain of salt and not take anything personally. Because I'm like, are these people at home thinking about me? Probably not.
Right.
It's just about them. And they get on social media and they get triggered because I have my own triggers. So I try to like empathize with them.
Yeah.
Which is like very big of me.
It is big of me.
Because leave me alone. But yeah, I just try to be understanding, which is really hard sometimes.
I mean, I think that's amazing. I mean, how most people don't get death threats on social media.
Many.
That's a very difficult thing to deal with. Do you think that
And I always say, the level of death threats I get does not match up with the level of fame I have, because I don't have a massive following that would warrant an understanding of getting that many death threats like Selena Gomez or Kylie Jenner, people who are known worldwide. I'm like, my teeny itty bitty tiny bit of fame does not equal the amount of hate that I get, but somehow it just it happens.
I have a sign. The only thing on my wall says "Love your haters; they're your biggest fans."
Yeah.
But I don't know that's so hard. Okay, so if you in this moment could look back, and I know it wasn't that long ago, but give yourself advice for when you first saw the message of this man being I want to shoot up your comedy show, what would you say to yourself?
To take action immediately, because I don't respond to haters. I don't respond to bad DMs. But he left me a voice note, and if he wrote it out, I would have just blocked. But because he sent me a voice note, and his voice, he was so angry and he was so emotional.
Wow.
That's why I was like, oh wow, this is it. It humanized him.
Wow.
I was like, oh, this is a person.
Wow.
I heard his voice. So I responded and I was like, bro, what's your problem? LOL. And he was just like, fuck you. And I was like, hey man, please leave me alone. This is not cool. And I kept asking him to leave me alone. And he wouldn't. And I was like, I'm going to call the cops. And he was like, LOL, good luck. And I was like, okay, bet. And a week later, the FBI knocked on his door. So.
That's crazy.
And then his brother had sent me a DM a month later and was like, hey, I'm blank's brother. Mind you, none of them are allowed to contact me. He was like, I just wanted to let you know that what you're putting my family through is very traumatic. And I'm like, what am I putting your family? And he was like, well, you told the cops and my family is going through a lot of trauma now because of that. And I was like, well, your brother shouldn't have threatened to murder me.
That is the biggest example of gaslighting I've ever heard of in my life.
Yeah, and I screenshot the DMs and I made a TikTok about it, and I was like, I'm putting your family through trauma because I told the cops that someone is going to do a mass shooting?
That's crazy.
Listen, if he had just said that he wants to kill me, I would have let it go. But once he brought in other people, there's mass shootings all the time in this country. Imagine he was that one psycho who actually did it, and it's I knew about it and didn't report it. How guilty I would feel if someone got hurt because of that. I was like, listen, I'm gonna tell the cops, and I did my duty as a civilian, and I told authorities, and whatever happens is not on me anymore, you know? But I was like, your brother is us, and he was like, my brother has a lot of anxiety about his court date. Can you just drop it?
Honestly, I do think even if he was...
And I was just like, I hate you. I literally hate you.
If he was just threatening you, I think that also would be a reason to say something.
Yeah.
100%.
And I was just like, men be like, #men be like.
Is this something that you talk about on stage?
I haven't, but I want to.
Yeah.
Because I haven't found a way to make it funny. It's just kind of bizarre and like everyone's going to feel bad for me. And like I kind of want to make it funny and I can't find a way to like make something like that funny because it's like it's just not a funny situation.
Right.
It's just insane.
It's too close. Like you need distance from it.
I don't know. I don't even know how to like make it funny.
Right.
People are, and then it's like I do bash men a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be like.
What do you bash about men?
That they're fucking trash.
What's trash about them?
Men lie, men cheat, men are small-minded, men are just hypocrites. Men want women to be like submissive and sex freaks but virgins, but this, but that, and be submissive and split the bill, but then they don't want to build a house or go to war. And it's like, go get drafted. Shut up.
Make up your mind.
It's just so much.
Oh my God. I feel like a lot of people bash men without like a solid argument, but I think that you're like pointing out some hypocrisies here.
Yeah, so many hypocrisies in men. And honestly, the only problems I've ever had in life have always been because of a man.
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time I've like had a problem with a female.
That's amazing.
Whether it's like gossip or my friends, like I don't fight with women. Women are usually very nice to me.
Yeah.
The only time I've ever had like even in the comedy world, the only time I've ever had drama was with men. And you would be surprised. Like you would think it's women being catty, but it's like it's men being catty.
Yeah.
I remember I had my birthday show at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood. And Tehran put my face on the Jumbotron as my birthday gift, and it was a whole thing. And a bunch of guys in the green room were like, "Who is this chick, bro? I bet she fucked someone to do this, bro." Like, because another comic was there and he heard and he told me, and it was just like a bunch of comics who are not passed at the Laugh Factory getting very angry that my face was on the Jumbotron because who am I? And I was just like, oh, okay.
People are so jealous that you have something that they have to come up with an excuse for the
how
reason
you
why
got
you
it.
had it instead of like, maybe I'm just fucking funny.
Yeah.
Maybe people like me.
That's exactly what it is. It's just like, I didn't suck any balls. People just like me. I'm chill.
I didn't suck any balls.
Yeah, like they always just assume that it's something like that.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating.
There are men that are supportive, but unfortunately...
There are, of course.
They're the ones that aren't have very loud voices. I think a lot, like... I feel like I know a lot of very supportive men, but yes. I will say all of the negative comments that I receive are also from people with wieners.
What do they say to you?
I don't know. They're just like, you're hot, but you're not funny or something like that. Oh, my
God.
But I think that's like a classic way to like put someone down or something. And I think every single female... I look at a lot of like comedians' comments a lot, and like most women get these comments or they delete them. But
yeah, you
can always like see that. And
do you feel like you would get more positive comments about your comedy if you were not as hot? Because you're obviously a very beautiful girl. Do you think if you were like not as attractive, people would like your comedy more? Same comedy, same jokes, same everything.
No, I mean, I feel like people like my comedy. I think people would...
But like the haters.
I think people would want to trash me a little bit less.
Yeah.
Because it's like upsetting. I don't know. They're like upset.
They're upset that you're pretty and funny.
Yeah, it's like it's just like upsetting to them.
I don't know. Why is it upsetting to them?
I don't know. And I feel torn because I think like sometimes I wear like a sweatshirt on stage and like I'm comfortable in like a sweatshirt and jeans. Like that's like my most comfortable. But then I go on the road and people are like I do like meet and greets after shows and people are like, we expected to see your tattoos. We want to see your tattoos. We want to see this. And we want to see you in like a tank top. And I'm like, okay, like I
don't feel like wearing a tank top.
I'm like, I guess, like, I get, like, why people are like, oh, I want you to, like, look nice on stage. And I'm also like, I don't know. I feel like it's, like, distracting if I'm not, like, wearing like sweatshirt.
People are so...
I'm like, why? I also don't know where my outfit matters, but...
Why does it matter?
Yeah.
You can't win.
I've never felt like comfortable really wearing a dress on stage. Like the first time I ever headlined a club in New York, I wore a dress and it was like fine because I was like, I'm wearing a dress, but I've never, I don't know, because then I just feel like so aware of like what I'm wearing.
Yeah.
I don't want to think about what I'm wearing. I just want to like wear what I wear every day.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you dress differently to be on stage?
I used to always dress up like boots and heels and red bottoms, and then I started performing a lot more and I'm like, I can't keep this up. I just can't do it. It's too much, especially when you're running around city from show to show. And then when I started to like make that shift of like wearing like normal clothes, people would ask me like, oh, what's wrong?
Yeah.
Because I'm like wearing sneakers and I'm like, nothing's wrong. I just don't feel like putting on fake lashes right now.
You're like, nothing. I'm just getting up more, bitch.
Yeah. So I kind of, for bigger shows, I try to put on a nice outfit, but I'm starting to realize how much of a commitment that is. Yeah. Because once you have a vibe, you got to keep it up. You know?
I honestly do feel like I want to like put a little more effort into the way I look sometimes because I think it makes me feel better about myself and it makes me feel more confident. Sometimes I'm like a little too like...
Then your performance is better.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I walked into the stand the other day and I like, I was like asking the bartenders for hair ties. Like that, I was like, please, like my hair is a mess. And like one of the photographers was like, can I take a picture of you? And I was like, okay. Like I look like I rolled out of bed. Like sometimes I really need to take more time to take care of myself. I need to shave my legs or something, even though it's winter. But it's also hard to like, I don't know, put your energy there.
Do you do anything else besides comedy, like job related, like besides podcasting and all that stuff?
I stream on Twitch, but like I haven't been good about it lately since I've been on the road.
Yeah. Just
been like traveling so much and it's been
exhausting.
I know a lot of comedians will be like, yeah, the most I can do is 2 weekends on the road. And I'm like, oh my God, I've been away every weekend and I'm exhausted. But it is really tiring to travel. It's really fun. And I feel like I write the most when I travel because I'm doing longer sets. I'm like feeling inspired, but I feel like pretty exhausted.
Yeah.
Nothing makes me appreciate New York more though. When like you come back, you've been gone, you're like, I really like... I'm from New York, so I have kind of like a resentment towards it. But damn, when I came back last night, even though I was tired and I got off a plane, I was at the stand. I had the best set because I was like, I'm so fucking happy to be here. Dude, like I was just so happy to be back. I mean, I'd only been gone for like the weekend, but I was like, thank God I'm back here.
Yeah.
We had great shows. Like we sold 900 tickets. It was
wow, that's amazing.
It was awesome. But it was still like traveling because we got to Chicago at 8 a.m. and we couldn't check in until 3. So that was 6 hours of just like floating around Chicago. We walked a mile.
You have your bags and you have your shit.
We literally walked a mile to a dispensary in the rain and then back. And then like since we were going to Rosemont after, there was like this time between checkout and check-in again of killing time with your bags where you're just like wandering around. So like all of that stuff kind of adds up. And then we had to check out and wait between the flight on whatever, all that stuff where you're just kind of like roaming around with your bags and you're like, I'm tired. But it was still great and I'm very grateful.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, it was fun. You're like, are you guys sure? Was this a mistake? Like I really sold so many tickets?
Your imposter syndrome's kicking in.
Okay, I always like to pull a tarot card or an oracle card at the end of my podcast.
I love this. Tell me my future, Natalie, please.
So, okay, this is I honestly, this morning I was like looking for this deck because this is the first oracle deck I ever bought. I bought it from the store, Myths of Creation. It doesn't exist anymore on Graham Avenue where I used to work. And I don't know, I just like this deck. So, yeah. We're going to pull an oracle card. See what the future holds today. What do we need to hear today?
Something good. Something good.
Please. I've got my JFL edition tonight. You had it Friday.
Best of luck, girl.
All right. I'm like, how do I know every single time I audition for anything, I'm like, I have to act like I don't care
Yes,
before I do it.
Better.
But I'm still like not capable.
I was so nervous on Friday. So nervous. And they're only 5-minute spots. I don't know how long your spot is.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm only doing 5 minutes. It's okay.
Oh, what is this? The hold. Is that good? I guess. Let's see.
I don't know.
I hope this is good. Oh.
Am I gonna die?
It's a sad card.
Oh, fuck.
Sometimes we're sad and we don't know why. Like a dark cloud came over you and you won't give up following you around. It might be that the best way to rid yourself of this gloomy grump is to truly bond with it. Feel your feelings deeply. It might be that you have fear of showing your more moody sides to the people in your life. It's also possible that these feelings have come about as a way of weeding out people who no longer serve you. If they cannot love your low moods, then they can't possibly see the true brightness of your shining joy.
Oh, that's sweet.
I do. I love this deck because it always has something nice to say that I'm like,
oh, that's nice.
It is.
It's a cute deck too. It's very cute.
It is. And look on the inside, it says, "I love you."
Oh, I love that.
Right. Well, Nina, where can people find you?
On Instagram, on TikTok, at Nina Kharoufeh. I always post my shows, my upcoming fights, all that stuff. You can find me on IG.
Yay.
Yes.
Thank you so much for doing the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yay. As always, you can find me on YouTube, youtube.com/Natalie Cuomo, and please join the Patreon, patreon.com/Natalie Cuomo. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye, guys.